A reading from the Gospel of Mark, chapter 3, verses 1 to 6. Again Jesus entered the synagogue, and a man was there who had a withered hand. They watched him to see whether he would cure him on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. And he said to the man who had the withered hand, "Come forward." Then he said to them, "Is it lawful to do good or to do harm on the Sabbath, to save life or to kill?" But they were silent. He looked around at them with anger. He was grieved at their hardness of heart, and said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." He stretched it out, and his hand was restored. The Pharisees went out and immediately conspired with the Herodians against him, how to destroy him. Can you feel the tension in the synagogue? Jesus was expected and plans had been made. He wasn't welcome. I wonder what it felt like to be there. Can you imagine being there? Would you have huddled at the back to avoid confrontation? Would you have found a place where you could be one of those challenging Jesus? Would you have been heartbroken rather than hard-hearted when it seemed that the man whose life could be changed so positively by Jesus was about to be denied healing? There are definitely things there I need to reflect upon, for it is so easy to find fault with people's decisions when we are at such a distance. So, the scene is set. Amongst the men gathered around is one with a withered hand. Probably he wasn't welcome either. Any disability was seen as a failure in you or your family, so you were avoided for fear you would taint someone who considered themselves to be clean. Or perhaps this unnamed man was a regular attender who hid his disfigured hand deep in his sleeve, but he would still know his place on the margin of this community, keeping himself out of sight so no one challenged him, ensuring no one noticed that he was different. I feel his tension on this Sabbath. He's probably heard of Jesus and his loving gift of healing, and it's also very likely he knows too that a lot of very important people are not happy with Jesus. I wondered what was going on in his mind. Does he know he's going to be pulled from his almost hidden place into the center of everything, and forced to be the focus point for everyone for two very different reasons? The hard-hearted, who have no regard for him as an individual, want to manipulate him to be part of their plan to accuse Jesus of breaking the Sabbath laws, a part of their bigger plan to destroy him. Their selfishness leaves no room for concern for this man. They see him as nothing more than a means to their own ends. Jesus knows their plan, but he sees this man as the person of value that he is, not a nobody to be manipulated. I see Jesus stretch out his hand as he looks the man in the eye and says, "Come forward." This man, acknowledged for the first time by the other worshippers only because he might be useful, is called forward by Jesus in a friendly way, with a hand outstretched in greeting. The tension in the man eases as he feels he is not defined by his disability. He is not, this time, shunned or ridiculed. Jesus knows that he is in danger if he heals this man on the Sabbath, and in the synagogue too, don't forget, but love puts concern for himself aside. Jesus will change this man's life, but first he tries to change the attitude of the Pharisees. He asks a straightforward question. He knows they're trying to catch him out, make him say something controversial so they can feel justified in their actions. But Jesus brings reality to the situation. He isn't talking in the abstract when he says, is it lawful to do good or to do harm on the Sabbath, to save life or to kill? He is talking about the living, breathing man in front of them all. Surely there will be compassion mixed into their answer. But they were silent. Jesus' reaction is direct and severe. He looked around at them with anger. He was grieved at their hardness of heart. Grieved shows his sadness as well as anger, for in this story of his mercy and love, Jesus' anger is because of their hardness of heart, their lack of compassion for the man with the withered hand. Jesus does not consider the dire implications for himself. Everything he does and says is motivated by love, both for the man with the withered hand and the Pharisees with their hardened hearts. But he sees they have no concern for this man, only selfishness. Their own desires are far more important to them than the well-being of the man in front of them. In this story of healing, so many could have been healed, but only the man with the withered hand is made whole. Can we hear Jesus say to each of us, "Come forward"? Can we stretch out our hands to meet his? Oh, just imagine the joy of that. And then say to him, "Here I am, Lord, with all my faults. Please heal me."